poison in one of the world's most contested waters. The Philippines accuses Chinese fishermen of using cyanide in the South China Sea, calling it sabotage near a key military outpost. If true, this isn't just a territorial dispute anymore. It's environmental warfare with strategic consequences. And in these waters, even the fish may now be targets. Tensions in the South China Sea have taken a new and troubling turn, with the Philippines accusing Chinese fishermen of poisoning waters in a disputed maritime zone. Manila claims that cyanide was used in fishing operations near the contested Second Thomas Shoal, part of the Spratly Islands, a long-standing flashpoint between the Philippines and China. Philippine officials say laboratory tests confirmed the presence of the toxic substance, raising alarm over both environmental damage and security risks in the area. The reef surrounding the shoal is not only ecologically significant, but also strategically vital, as it supports a grounded Philippine military outpost used to assert sovereignty claims. Authorities in Manila have described the alleged use of cyanide as a form of sabotage.
The use of cyanide on a Yungan shoal is a term of sabotage that seeks to kill local fish populations, depriving Navy personnel of a vital food source.
According to officials, the chemical could devastate marine life, wiping out fish populations that local forces rely on for sustenance. More critically, there are concerns that prolonged damage to the reef could weaken the structural stability of the outpost itself. Philippine Navy spokesman Rear Admiral Roy Vincent Trinidad said Filipino troops seized 10 bottles of cyanide from boats launched from Chinese fishing ships in February, July, and October 2025. Trinidad said that soldiers observed another Chinese sampan crew poisoning waters near the shoal last month, adding that the shoal's waters later tested positive for cyanide. The accusation adds a new layer to an already volatile dispute. The South China Sea remains one of the world's most contested regions, with overlapping territorial claims involving multiple countries. China claims nearly the entire waterway, despite a 2016 international tribunal ruling that rejected those claims. Beijing, however, continues to assert control through patrols, infrastructure, and maritime presence. The Philippines, backed by allies such as the United States, has increasingly pushed back against what it sees as aggressive actions by Chinese vessels. The cyanide allegation now introduces an environmental dimension to the conflict, raising concerns beyond traditional military and territorial tensions. While Beijing has not directly responded to the latest accusation, it has consistently denied wrongdoing in similar incidents and has often accused Manila of escalating tensions by inviting external powers into the region. In 2022, 3 villagers from China's Sichuan province did something simple. They wrote to local officials asking why the government was confiscating their land and forcing them from their homes. The reply they received was brief and bewildering. It was, they were told, a state secret. That secret, a CNN investigation has now found, was hiding something enormous. Their village has since been flattened. In its place, new buildings have been erected to support some of China's most critical nuclear weapons production facilities. The expansion, documented through satellite imagery and dozens of Chinese government documents, supports what the Trump administration has been warning about for months. Beijing is running its most significant nuclear weapons modernization campaign in decades. The evidence is hard to ignore. Across a network of nuclear sites in and around Zhejiang County in Sichuan's mountainous terrain, construction activity has exploded since 2021. New buildings, expanded facilities, overhauled roads and rail connections. The scope of change points to a program that is not slowing down. One of the most striking additions is a massive dome rising from the banks of the Tongjiang River, built in under 5 years. Its shape is unusual, resembling a tic-tac candy. At 36,000 square feet, roughly the size of 13 tennis courts, the reinforced structure features blast doors, radiation monitors, ventilation stacks, and an extensive network of pipes. Experts say these features are specifically designed to contain highly radioactive materials like uranium and plutonium. The facility, located inside a nuclear weapons base known to the CIA since 1971, is ringed by 3 layers of security fencing. A tunnel disappears into a nearby mountainside. CNN compiled more than 50 satellite snapshots from different construction phases to build a 3-dimensional model of the site, designated in Chinese government documents as Site 906, with its construction project labelled XTJ0001.
This building is almost a Rorschach test for people's worst nightmares about what China is up to. You're looking at a reconfiguration of this complex. This facility is a centerpiece. It is emblematic of all these changes. It does seem that there's going to be a much bigger capacity to produce at the end of this.
Site 906 is not operating in isolation. Newly refurbished roads connect it to at least 3 other nuclear weapons bases strung along narrow valleys in and around Zhejiang County. One of these, Site 931, expanded directly into Baitu village, which was torn down along with the nearby village of Dashan to make way for the base's growth. A road-to-rail transfer point linking the entire network to Western China has also been significantly overhauled since 2021, another indicator of a coordinated and comprehensive revival of the Zhejiang facilities. When American spy satellites first photographed the Zhejiang network in 1971, US intelligence considered it a game-changer. Declassified documents from that era concluded the sites were putting China on course to become the world's 3rd-largest producer of nuclear warheads. That prediction proved accurate. Around 2020, China's warhead stockpile surpassed that of France. Today, according to the Pentagon, Beijing is the fastest-growing nuclear power in the world. But with just over 600 warheads, it still trails far behind the United States and Russia, each of which commands a stockpile at least 4 times larger.
It might be that there are new processes being established at these locations, new types of things being made. It's clear that there are a lot of changes happening on the ground.
About 40 miles southwest of Zhejiang, a cluster of research institutes known as Science City forms the intellectual core of China's nuclear weapons program. Here too, the changes are dramatic. Over 600 buildings were demolished in 2022 alone to make way for expanded facilities, according to satellite imagery analysis. The scale of transformation across both the production sites and the research campuses points to something deeper than routine upgrades. The comprehensive changes align closely with a directive Xi Jinping issued in late 2020, when he publicly instructed military leadership to accelerate the construction of high-level strategic deterrence. Construction activity across the Zhejiang network began ramping up just a few months later. China's expanding arsenal is not just about raw numbers. Beijing has developed early warning systems capable of detecting an incoming missile and launching a retaliatory strike before impact, according to Pentagon assessments. This shift represents a more assertive nuclear posture, one that analysts believe is tied directly to geopolitical goals, including any potential military action over Taiwan. The Chinese government, for its part, has pushed back firmly. A Defense Ministry spokesman stated that China pursues a nuclear strategy of self-defense and follows a nuclear policy of no first use of nuclear weapons, adding that Beijing pledges not to use or threaten nuclear weapons against non-nuclear states. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, when asked about CNN's findings, said simply,
"We are not aware of the situation you mentioned."
The implications extend well beyond China and the United States. Analysts warn that the build-up, if misread or overstated, could trigger an arms race more complicated than anything seen during the Cold War, one involving 3 major nuclear powers rather than 2.
One consequence of what the Trump administration is doing in Iran is not going to be to cow or intimidate the Chinese, but it will be to frighten them into building more nuclear weapons.
Trump is expected to visit Beijing next month, with arms control among the key agenda items. But analysts caution against expecting major breakthroughs. Even in the most optimistic scenario, Beijing would likely offer a dialogue rather than concrete commitments. Back in Sichuan, where 3 villagers once wrote a letter asking a simple question, the answer is now visible from space. What was once their home is now part of something far larger and far more consequential than they could have imagined.